would win in a fight? Davey Havok or Jared Leto?
I want to go with Davey Havok, and this is why. Because Jared Leto is like a cult leader, therefore he's not really like, he has other people to do shit for him. And if we learned anything from his role as like the shittiest Joker in history, he's just not a fighter. He's one of those all talk but no action.
I think he would.
Shit and hit type of person.
Yeah, exactly. I think he would first forget that there was a fight. He'd be like, I missed it. And if he did show up, I don't think he would be very aggressive. I don't know.
No.
He doesn't seem to me like to be a fighter type anyway, but I definitely would go Davey Havok of the two of them. I don't know if they would fight. I imagine that like Davey Havok is such an LA socialite that I imagine they just like run into each other and just like chill when they're in LA together. Like they're probably like friendly.
Do you think that that he's in the cult though, or no?
No. I remember back in the day, people said that there was like a Church of Davey Havok that was kind of a cult sort of thing.
That sounds about right. Those like fan.
I think that's a fan cult.
Fan bases. It was basically Stans before Stans was a thing. But it was worse. It was like worse somehow.
You would be like, I'm part of a cult, but it's like really you just Stan.
There was
that's the title of the episode. You think you're in a cult, but you're really just a Stan.
We're gonna get so many people there and be like, excuse me? And be like, yeah. I read an article and there was I think it's Brazilian or Argentinian soccer player who died like right before the new year. I don't remember what his name was. I think it started with an M. And he was just like super well known. And now that his like fans have a church for him, like they have their own church and like thing that like they worship him.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a cult. That's a cult.
Or it's bordering that line. Anybody can start a church. Anybody can start cults are technically illegal.
No
right?
shit.
Are they? Well, I don't know. It's the actions that happen in the cult, but having a cult doesn't matter.
Because there are a lot of places that are cults and they do still operate. Let's see.
Yeah. Here. The use of the word stan, this is Lindsay in our chat. The use of the word stan doesn't seem to have the power it used to. Fair weather stan is more accurate. Totally. I love this band until they release an album I don't like, and then I don't like them anymore. Fair weather stan. Love that.
Okay, so technically it's protected under religious rights. So you can have a cult if you cite it as like a religious affiliation. That's why they said there's over 10,000 cults in the United States.
Right. Jesus, where
are they all at?
We are one of many. It's basically like being stans of something. So if you got Jared Leto stans and you got Davey Havok stans, you got a cult right there. Build the cult. Build it, they will stand. All right, Lizzie, let's ask a real question now.
Okay, so this comes from let me get rid of the cult. Google search. Okay, so this one comes on my personal. So this comes from my personal Instagram. How do you de-stress when pod-related work becomes too much?
I hand over the work to Lizzie.
That's not wrong. Depending on what it is.
Yeah, as far as the work is right now, and even talking like before the pandemic when we were doing the karaoke's and stuff, there's not a ton of work like that goes into it. A lot of it is like more preparation that we've done over a long period of time. So like even just the fact of like recording and then getting a podcast to Lizzie to then edit is literally just like what we do live, and then sort of like we make notes. Now we've also hired Alice, who's a lovely friend helping us out with that, to just kind of make notes if there's any edits, and it's going in, making those edits, and then that's really it. So we take all these edit points and you just go in and make those edits. But that is a lot of preparation beforehand of making it so that you just edit very minimally after the episode is recorded. So I think there's not a lot of stress as it is now. The stress is more figuring out, where do we want it to go? What do we want to do with it? And as of right now, like we don't have a lot that's happening that like becomes stressful yet. Lizzie doing daily TikToks, I'm sure is more stressful than anything else right now.
Only stressful that when I do it, I just make sure none of my siblings are around, because they'll be like, just look at me and be like, what are you doing? Because they're all younger than me, and they're just like, can you not? And I'm like, I am in my house. You are observing this buffoonery as my sibling that you have to accept. You have no choice but to accept it.
Correct. Yeah, it's hard to say there's stress in the podcast part of it. When we were doing the karaoke events, when we were doing live stuff, that had obviously a little bit more stress, but the way we originally did it, and this may change going forward when we start doing live events again in the future, is we weren't really involved in the process. So it was very like specific when we were hired for things to say, we are the entertainment, we are coming in to provide that entertainment, and we will use it to benefit ourselves in certain ways, like promotion and all that. But essentially we're just setting this up with an organization to do a fundraiser, but all of the fundraiser parts are on the venue and on the organization that we're supporting for it. We help with promo, we help with all that kind of stuff, but we don't really push it as like our event, basically. So in the past, it hasn't been super stressful to put up one of these events. In the future, it may be more of our events, our emo social club running it as a night, as a thing, and then putting an organization, putting some, I don't know, we could do anything now because it's not competing with anything else. And also we're coming back from literally no events. So it's like, we're going to have to compete with everybody else who's throwing events on the same nights in the same places even. So.
I think the only thing we'll have is that we'll probably have our friends at Emporium probably. And so we'll at least have the emo karaoke for that. Everyone's going to be hyped for it, I would assume. And to go back to the fundraiser stuff, I know that it was also, there was a lot of like cross lines and mixed signals when it came to like setting up who got what and like donations and everything, because could definitely help and connect the dots, but definitely wasn't supposed to be extraditing all the donations ourselves necessarily. But going forward, that was like the biggest stressor, I think, with all of the podcasts here for the most part. And then I think other times it would just be like getting certain guests. Sometimes it can be like last minute, or like especially like during the holiday season, I was like, okay, all these people aren't answering as quickly as I thought that they would, because no one's really none of us are really doing anything, but people still take the holidays off.
People were
so I didn't really stress too much anymore about it, because I knew we had other stuff locked in already. I just think after the fact though, to like just the I decompress from my main job of news with this. So for me to decompress further I don't know how to do that, and that doesn't exist for me personally. I live in chaos.
I can't go.
That's what I told the job interview. So that's where we live. That's where we reside.
In a lot of ways, this is our de-stressor of just chatting with cool people, chatting with each other, hanging out. It's this is our de-stressor.
Yeah.